Hello, this is Sophie and welcome to Yin Yoga for the spine. So in Yin Yoga, we take the poses of traditional Hatha Yoga and we practice them in a very different way, in a passive way, non-aggressive, non-assertive, and we just let the effects of the poses reveal themselves to us gently and progressively over time. Let's begin by coming to the breath. So just come to a comfortable seated position with the spine nice and straight. Close your eyes and just focus on your breath, the flow of your breath. Try and create a nice balanced breath rhythm. Inhale and exhale, lasting around the count of 4. Let's take a few gentle warm-ups. We'll start with a spinal twist. Inhale, lifting the arms all the way up. Exhale, take a twist to the side, right hand to left knee, left hand behind the tailbone. And then we'll move with the breath. The inhales lift us all the way up. And on each exhale, we'll twist to alternate sides. And noticing that with each breath, movement becomes more and more fluid. Just really paying attention to what you feel in your body, what sensations arise in each movement, in each breath. We'll continue here with a spinal roll. So if you're sitting on a cushion, take that away. Cross the legs, bring the hands to the knees. As you inhale, lift your chest upwards. As you exhale, round the spine, bring your chin to your chest, maybe lift the knees up. And again, move with the breath. Inhale, heart reaches towards the sky. Exhale, round the spine, pelvis tips up, chin to chest. Moving with your breath. Noticing sensation arising in each part of your spine. Noticing where is there a sense of fluidity, and is there any sense of stuckness or stiffness? Just moving with your breath. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And we'll move now onto our hands and knees. We'll finish our warm-up with a cat-cow. So align wrists beneath shoulders, knees beneath hips. On an inhale, drop the belly, chest forward, eyes up. On your exhales, round the back, push the floor away, bring your chin to your chest. Keep moving with your breath. In Yin Yoga, we put a lot of emphasis on where we feel the poses. So in each of our poses today, we'll be targeting the spine and we'll make sure that we feel sensation in the spine and not in any other part of the body. Moving with your breath, feeling what you feel. Now, at any point in this practice, if you feel a sensation that is short, sharp, or pinching, that's your sign to back off. Let's release into a little child's pose now. Bring the knees together. Let the spine melt down over the knees. Arms can be out in front of you or alongside the body. Feel that lovely stretch. Breathe. Breathe. We're going to start with our first pose. So come onto hands and knees, cross the ankles behind you, and then bring the tailbone down behind the ankles. So in a butterfly pose, we're going to start with butterfly pose. You'll find you access target area, the spine, by bringing the feet further out away from the groin. If you bring them in towards the groin, we feel the sensation in the hips, but today we want to feel in the spine, so we bring the feet a little further away. And then gently let the torso surrender forwards, relaxing everything. Now, some of you might like to use props for this practice, just to help you feel supported in the pose. So one prop you can use is underneath the tailbone, and make sure that your pelvis is tipped forward slightly as you sit up on your cushion. And then you might like to also use props to lean on as you come forward, just to support your torso, taking some of your body weight so there's not so much stress on the spine. You might even like to take a block and rest that block on the cushions just to support the neck. And as you come into your position, let's just check in with our target area, the spine, so we make sure we're feeling this pose in the spine and not in the hips or any other part of the body. And just feel into it. Take a nice long deep inhale. Let it sigh out through the mouth as the body softens into this pose. So we'll start to relax all of our muscles, especially around the spine in our target area. And then we'll allow our awareness to move through the body, scanning the body, and it will just try and notice if we're holding any tension anywhere unconsciously. And if we find any unconsciously held tension in the body, we'll just see if we can let it go. We'll allow it to soften. Now stay present with your breath. For now, allow the breath to do whatever it wants. Just keep noticing it. And each time you exhale, let the body soften even more. So maybe you allow your breath to be very light, very soft. Maybe it feels better for you to lengthen and deepen the breath. But whatever your breath is doing, let it be effortless and stay present with it. Letting your eyes soften, all the muscles in your face let go, relax your tongue, relax your jaw. Allow the shoulders to completely release, melting down. Notice if you're holding any tension in your belly. See if you can let that go too. And we allow all of our awareness to be with the breath as it flows, and to be with the sensations, the feelings that we feel in our body. We're already in the last minute here in our butterfly pose. So try to stay present with every breath, noticing these intermittent waves of relaxation and softening in the body, especially noticeable in our first pose of the practice. Body continuously softens over time. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And then we're going to start to move, and I'm going to give you a couple of different options of how to transition into our next pose. So our next pose is a caterpillar pose. And one option, if you'd like to, is just to move directly into your caterpillar pose. So straightening out the legs, remaining in that forward bend and just letting the torso surrender forward over the straightened legs. And the position of those straightened legs, have a little play around with where they should be, either closer together or a little ways apart, just to keep that sensation in the spine predominantly and not predominantly in another part of the body. If you'd like to take a little break between poses, start to move very, very gently, very slowly, lifting up the torso, engaging your core muscles as you go. And then to just take a little rest between poses, leaving the arms out behind you and rest there on your hands. Legs are out in front of you and just taking a few moments there to notice the effects of your practice, to feel the effects of your pose in your body. Notice where the sensation arises. Notice the qualities of that sensation. Keep the focus inwards. And then you might start to move into your caterpillar pose. So again, you could take a cushion underneath your tailbone. If you found that helpful in the butterfly, you'll find that helpful here in the caterpillar. And the use of props is quite similar to how we were using them in the caterpillar, in the butterfly. We might just bring some cushions out in front of us to take a little bit of the weight of the torso so we can lean on that as we come forward. And for those of you with tight hamstrings, it's absolutely fine to put a couple of cushions underneath your knees, and you'll find that relieves any pressure on your hamstrings. So as you come into the pose, start with a nice, long, deep inhale. Lift the heart upwards. And exhale, just surrender forwards again. You might take a block to rest the forehead. And let the arms just drop. And as you settle into your pose, into your shape, connect in there with your target area, your spine. And just notice where in the spine you're feeling sensation. Maybe it's in your lower spine, your lumbar spine. Maybe you feel it more around the area of your ribs, the spinal area of your ribs, your thoracic spine. Or maybe you feel that in your upper spine, the spine that runs through where your shoulders and neck, your cervical spine. So just notice where in the spine you're feeling sensation. Stay really present with your breath. With each exhale, allow your body to soften even more. Let the breath be effortless, and let the wisdom of your breath decide what it does. Don't force it into anything, but know that it's all fine. Stay present with the breath. In traditional Chinese medicine, one of our major energy channels, meridians, runs up either side of the spine. And so as we rest in these long-held yin poses, we're increasing the flow of qi, life force energy. And so in this position, especially, we're increasing the flow of qi in our bladder meridian, the bladder channel. And in the esoteric anatomy part of TCM, the bladder channel is part of our water element. And our water element governs our relationship with fear and anxiety. So this is a great pose if you've been feeling fears and anxiety. It's a great pose to help balance you out away from anxiety and more towards a place of trust in your own intuition. So we're already in our last minute here. Try to stay very present with your breath. Try not to get distracted by thoughts of the mind. Just acknowledge them, notice them, and let them pass on through without reacting to them or without attaching to them. Let's take 3 more breaths. And then very, very gently, very slowly, we're going to start to move. Nice and gently, engaging the core muscles as you start to lift up your torso. And we're going to find our way into a rebound pose in Shavasana. So moving very, very slowly, finding our way into our Shavasana. If you want to keep your cushions underneath your knees, go ahead and do that. It's important that you move as little as possible. And stay really present with the sensations that arise as you come out of your pose. Notice, where do those sensations emanate from? Do they emanate from deep in your core, from your bones? Do they emanate from your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments, your fascia? Do they feel like they're emanating from a higher part of the body than that, from the skin or from outside of the skin? Just be really fascinated in whatever is emerging in your body as you come out of your pose. And we'll take a nice long rebound here. Some of you will have been in a forward bend for nearly 10 minutes. So just really pay attention to how that long held forward bend is affecting you. You know, the spinal cord is very effective, is very associated, connected to our nervous system. So when we work with the spine, we're going to feel that in our nervous system. We're going to feel a real effect of that. So pay attention. How have these poses impacted your nervous system? When you're ready, you're going to start to wiggle your fingers and toes. And then maybe take a nice, deep, long stretch, stretching one side of your body and then the other. And when you're ready, roll to either side and stay there on your side for 3 breaths or so. And then in our next transition, we're just going to roll over onto the belly and come into our Sphinx pose. Taking a little back bend here, creating a bit of compression in the thoracic spine. So we want to align our elbows underneath the shoulders. Ideally, they come directly underneath. And there's a couple of different ways we can take this pose. So we might want to draw the shoulder blades down the spine and lift the chest upwards, finding a broadening here in the collarbone. So there is a little bit of muscular engagement here, but as long as we're relaxing in the target area, that's okay. Now, for some of us, having the elbows underneath the shoulders might feel a little bit intense. So another option is for us to take the elbows a little ways out in front of the shoulders and just see if that works better in your body. We might also take a little bit of cushion support underneath the ribs. And then we can Relax the neck completely, just letting the head hang heavy. Or maybe we can take a block and rest the forehead on the block. So whatever version you're in, taking a nice long deep breath. Maybe you want to sigh it out through your mouth. And once again, we're going to go in to our stillness. You know, in our yin poses, we try to stay as still as possible. Now, throughout our pose, we might move slightly just to make a micro adjustment with intention to shift where we're feeling sensation in the body. So that's fine. We just try and stay still to avoid fidgeting and just to help keep the focus in the shape that we're in. So again, we'll close the eyes, move the awareness inside, present with the breath, present with the sensations in the body. Allowing all the muscles in the face to let go. No need for facial expression. No need to show up as anything other than what you are in this moment. Relax your eyebrows and the space between your eyebrows. Relax your tongue. And let your awareness move all through your body. Just noticing, what do I feel? Noticing if I'm holding on to any tension. Seeing if I can allow that to be released. And so just beneath our ribs, in the center of our back, that's our kidneys. And so this compression in that area of the spine that we are creating in the Sphinx pose, that's affecting our kidneys. And this compression is creating like a detox effect for the kidneys, helping them to push out that which is old. And then when we come out of the pose, we create space to bring in that which is new energy, new oxygen, new chi. So we might want to breathe into the kidneys whilst we're in this pose. Inhaling into the kidneys, feeling an expansion in that part of the back. Feeling a softening on the exhale. So we're all ready in our last minute here. If you're having any issues with the lower back, you could also just push down a little with your pelvic bone and see if that helps to release anything. And so to come out of the pose, you're going to very gently just take the elbows out to the side. And then when you feel ready, transition nice and gently into a child's pose. Bring the palms next to your ribs, push down. Bring the tailbone to the heels, have the knees together for this child's pose. And just let the spine melt over your knees, creating lots of space now in that part of the body. So enjoy that sensation of giving space to the spine. And know that that space is being filled with fresh chi, fresh life force energy. This pose working with the kidneys, it's great when you're feeling a bit run down, a bit running on empty, because our kidneys, they are the home of our Jing energy. The Jing energy is like the battery of the body. And so we replenish it when we bring chi to the kidneys. So again, just really focusing on the sensations that arise as we come out of our pose. So to come out of the child's pose, let's start to engage the core muscles as we gently lifting up the spine. We're going to come onto hands and knees. We'll cross the ankles behind us and then bring the tailbone down behind the ankles, letting the legs stretch out in front of us. So we're going to come into a supported bridge pose. We're going to need a block or a thick cushion for this that we're going to put underneath the sacrum, which is the area of flat bone at the base of your spine. And make sure that you feel nice and supported, nice and comfortable there on your prop under your sacrum. And so then we're going to come into the full expression of the pose. We're going to stretch the legs out in front of us, bring the arms up over the head. Now, if you're not feeling so much sensation, this one reaches the lower spine, the lumbar spine. If you're not feeling so much on the lowest level of the block, you can always flip the block round, taking it up a little higher and increasing the sensation. And you could even take it up a little bit further, coming up onto the highest level of the block. But remember, we'll be here for about 4 minutes, so we don't want to be overwhelmed with sensation. If this is super intense for you, even on the lowest level of the block, you could try a thinner cushion support, or you could even bend your knees. So we're going to take a nice, long, deep inhale here. Sigh it out through the mouth. Once again, just let the whole body soften. Whole body lets go, sinks down. Stay present with the breath. Allow the breath to do whatever it wants to do. All we need to do is stay present with the breath and continually allow the body to soften with each exhale. So this pose creates a little back bend in the lower spine, in the lumbar spine. So we want to feel the target area there. Make sure that we're feeling sensation primarily there and not in other parts of the body. You also might feel sensation along the front line of your body here. This is your stomach meridian. And this governs our relationship with neediness and contentment. So if ever you're feeling like your glass is a little half empty, this might be a good pose for you to do. And as you rest in the pose, you're letting your awareness move around the body, noticing where you're holding unconscious tension in the body. It's another great thing this practice does for us, because we're still and we stay in these poses over relatively long periods of time. It really helps us to become familiar with where we hold our unconscious tension in the body. What are our patterns of unconscious tension? And we're just bringing awareness, consciousness to that which is unconscious. You know, you might find yourself becoming distracted by thoughts. It's totally normal, but as soon as you notice that your awareness, your attention is with the thoughts in your mind and not with the sensations, the feelings in your body, as soon as you notice that, just bring your awareness back down into the bodies. Let it rest with your sensations, with your feelings. Let it rest with your breath. Where the attention goes, that's also where the energy will go. So where we want to bring energy to, we bring our attention to. So we're already in our last minute. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And we're going to start very gently, very slowly, moving out of the pose. We can bring the arms alongside the body. Bend the knees, bring the feet to the mat. Now, if you're on one of the higher levels of the block, just flip down to the next level down. Stay there for a while just to come out gradually and be nice and gentle with the spine. And eventually, we'll take the block or the support away. We'll come into a little mini Shavasana. Now, you might just want to rest there in your Shavasana, staying present with the sensations that arise as you come out of your pose. You might also want to hug your knees into your chest. Maybe you take a little roll from side to side. Maybe you take your hands on your knees, taking your knees in a circle. And if you do that, remember also to take the knees in the opposite direction as well. Now, this part of the body, the lower spine, the sacrum, it's a really important part of the body according to the Hatha Yoga tradition. It joins the lower and the upper part of the body, so it's a place of transformation, a sacred bone. And in fact, the word sacrum comes from the word sacred. So from here, resting the feet on the mat, the knees are bent, we're going to move into a spinal twist. And again, I'm going to give you different variations of which spinal twist to take. So one is to straighten out your right leg, keep the left leg bent. And then you're going to bring your right hand to the outside of the left knee and bring it across the body down towards the mat. And the left arm is outstretched, the eyes resting on the left hand. You could also try really squeezing that knee up into the chest before bringing it across the body, just to vary where you're going to feel that in your spine. So make sure that where you're feeling the sensation is where you want to be feeling the sensation. A different version, similar to this, but just slightly different, is where we take both knees together. We bend both knees and we bring them down together to the other side. If you want to take it even more, then one thing that we can do is come into a cat's tail. So we're adding in a little back bend with the spinal twist. So here we're going to start lying on our backs with the feet on the mat, knees are bent. So you're going to shift the hips over towards the left and straighten that left leg and take it across the body. The right leg is still bent, and then we reach behind with the left hand to take hold of the right foot. Now, ideally, we've got both of our shoulders on the mat. And that left leg that you took across your body, you can keep that straight, or if it is more comfortable, you can bend that knee as well. So taking a nice, long, deep inhale. Exhale through the mouth, let the body soften. And then let your awareness and attention return to the inner world. Returning to the state of acute inner listening. And listening with kind ears, not judgmental ears. Whatever we notice internally in our body, we remember not to judge that at all. Staying present with the breath. Staying present with the sensations in the body. Allowing the thoughts of the mind to come and go without becoming distracted by them without attaching to any one of them, without resisting them. And in doing so, we give ourselves the gift of present moment awareness, releasing ourselves from worrying about the past or the future, and just allowing ourselves to be fully here in this moment with what is. We're already in our last minute. So let's take 3 more breaths here. And then very gently, very slowly, we're going to start to move. We'll come into our rebound pose. We're just going to come into a shavasana in between sides. So make sure you're moving really slowly, very consciously, being aware of all the sensations that arise as you come out of your pose. And finding your way into shavasana. Noticing, being very curious about these sensations that arise. Where do they come from? Do they have a vibration? Do they have a texture? Are they more like fluid moving in the body, or are they more like air moving in the body? So we're going to start to move out of Shavasana and into the second side of our spinal twist. So have a little wiggle of your fingers and toes. Have a little stretch if you like. And then we're going to bend the right knee. Bring the left hand to the outside of the right knee. Bring it across the body. Stretching outwards from the right shoulder and eyes resting on that hand. Maybe you'd like to take the double leg version, so bending both knees and then taking them down towards the left, maybe even bringing a cushion to rest on top just to help weigh it down. If you want to come into your second side of your cat's tail, then you're going to shift your hips over towards the right. Then you're going to straighten your right leg, bring it down across the body, bend your left knee, reach behind with your right hand, reach down and hold on to your left foot. And then you can keep that straight right leg, you can keep it straight, or if it's more comfortable to bend it, you can go ahead and bend it. So settling in there, making sure that you're feeling sensation in the part of your spine that's between your ribs and your pelvis. Take a nice, long, deep inhale. Exhale, let it sigh out through the mouth. Once more sinking down into the body. Turning your attention inwards. Remembering to be non-judgmental. Just allowing all that you notice to be as it is. Allow yourself to feel what you feel. If emotions arise during the practice, it's perfectly normal. Just when you notice the emotion, try and feel the emotion in your body. Stay away from the mind. And then in that way, we allow the energy to flow, move through us, not get stuck. Present with the breath. And each exhale, body softens even more. And as we create a healthy spine, with all of these poses we've been doing in our practice, we're helping to enable this flow of energy up and down the spine, and in that way it can reach easily all of our chakras, our energy centers, infusing them with prana, as it's called in the yogic tradition, chi, as it's called in the Chinese tradition. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Nice and gently, nice and slowly, we're going to move out of the pose, finding our way back into Shavasana. Move very, very slowly. Stay really present with what you feel in your body as you come out of your pose. Maybe you'd like to keep your cushions under your knees if that feels good in your body, then go ahead and do that. Maybe you'd like to begin your Shavasana with a long, deep inhale. Let it sigh out through the mouth. And just for these last few moments of our practice, stay really connected to what you feel. And whatever you feel, whatever you notice arising, not judging it, just allowing it to be, allowing yourself to feel what you feel without judgment. In doing so, we're creating flow of energy in the body so nothing gets stuck within us. When you're ready to come out of your Shavasana, you can stay there as long as you like. But when you're ready to come out of your Shavasana, start to gently wiggle your fingers and toes. And stretch your arms up above your head alongside your ears. Stretch one side of your body and then the other. And when you're ready, just roll to either side. Bend your knees and stay there for 3 breaths. And after 3 breaths, gently bring yourself back to a seated position. We'll finish by saying Namaste, which means the light within me recognizes and honors the light within you. Namaste.